what we will do is this, man. We're going to pay some bills.
Sure.
And the best way to do that is to talk about our good friends over at Manscaped. You know Manscaped, the leaders in below the waist grooming, right? I mean, the people that created the Lawnmower 4.0. I mean, we're talking about the originators of the Crop Reviver. I'm talking about the Ball Refresher. I mean, dude, they have everything that you need when it comes to your delicate twins that dangle. They have what you need. And when I think of the summer, as we're already in the heart of, right? It's July. You know when July is hot. In fact, sometimes people call it Big Deke energy. Others refer to it as hot guy summer. Okay. But whatever it is, you need to perform at a high level. And the best way to do that is to get the Performance Package 4.0. Has that Lawnmower 4.0 that we were talking about. You like Deke stash, right? Okay. You Manscaped has a light on it. You can't miss this thing, all right? You can't miss. I already talked about the Crop Reviver, the Ball Refresher, along with the super comfy Manscaped boxer briefs. And a cool little carrying bag. You can't go wrong with this thing, man. But more importantly, as we always say, Deke, if we're going to talk about a company, what's our rule? We said we got a rule, right? It's something like we got to be giving away promo. It's something like that, right?
Yeah.
We got
to be a good deal for all parties involved.
All parties, right? Not just us. Because if it's just us, that's selfish. So it's not just us. For all parties involved. So with that being said, we got a promo code, ladies and gentlemen. If you use the promo code MOTES, you receive 20% off along with free shipping. You can't beat that. Your delicate twins can't beat that. All of those areas that you might want to groom. Okay, we talk about that performance package. It has the weed whacker in there for them nostril hairs and those ear hairs. You cannot beat that. All right? Just make sure you check out Manscaped, man, and show them some love. You got the list up yet?
I do.
All right. So we got to talk linebackers today. Sticking with our theme right now, we're going through Jeremy Fowler. You know the homie Jeremy Fowler working with ESPN now. Former Pittsburgh Steeler. Well, he actually wasn't a
AFC North,
Steelers, but he was like an AFC North analyst for ESPN, and now he's their big like national analyst. But every year he puts out these lists, and he has a top 10 along with 6 honorable mentions per position grouping, and the list is constructed and voted by GMs, executives, scouts, coaches. So think like we always talk about this thing more all pro versus the Pro Bowl conversation. We think of this list right here. So with that context, man, are you ready to start the list to let us know if we have any action on said list?
Sure. So we'll go 10 to 1.
All right, let's do it.
We got number 10, Miles Jack, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. That's a new team. I like them. They must be lit. All right. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, yeah, I'm just gonna
Jackson. That's cool, man.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
That's better than yesterday. Remember, or the other day, you were just like reading them off, like,
I didn't even.
You didn't no ranking, just
I was just naming the guys.
Yeah. So this is good right here, man.
Number 9, Demario Davis, New Orleans.
I love this. Let's go.
Number 8, Tremaine Edmonds, Buffalo.
It's somebody out here go. Watch this. It's gonna be somebody in the comments one of these days. It's gonna be randomly reading through this. Like, does Deke know where he's talking? What is he talking about? Repeating the team name. He needs to study this thing. And we're gonna be laughing because the joke's gonna be on them. So keep it rolling.
Number 7, Eric Kendricks. That's interesting. Minnesota.
Shout out to Minnesota.
6,
the Jaguars of Jacksonville. They are silly.
Roquan Smith, Chicago.
Shout out to Chicago. It's kind of like New York.
Exactly.
You know,
these people need to get with the times. Yeah, these people need to get with the times here. Levante David, Tampa Bay.
That's a big city right there. Tampa Bay. Whew.
Number 4, Darius Leonard, Indianapolis. Number 3, Bobby Wagner, Seattle.
There it is.
Number 2, Fred Warner, San Fran.
Where's San Fran? Are you talking about San Francisco? You gotta say the whole thing, man. Pronounce the whole thing.
How did I even botch that one up? Sorry.
Can we get it again? San Francisco?
You actually want it that
like
bad? San Francisco.
I appreciate it. I just love it. I'm sorry.
Number 1, Devin White, Tampa Bay.
Shout out to Tampa Bay, man.
You want some honorable mentions?
Yeah, can we get some honorable? Because we did not hear a Devin Bush in there, so I would like to hear some honorable mentions. Nor do we hear a KJ Wright. I didn't hear his name either.
Nope, he's not even in the honorable mentions.
Whoa. Okay.
Deion Jones.
Okay, Atlanta. Atlanta.
Yeah.
All right.
Zach Cunningham, Houston.
The Giants of Jersey. They are silly.
Devin Bush, Pittsburgh.
Hey, we got Pittsburgh.
So he's the third honorable mention. So I guess that's technically 13th on the list.
13. Okay, we take that because it's not in alphabetical order. We learned that with Joe Hayden, correct? Was it? Yeah, was it with Joe we learned that?
Well, the reason I think this is because the first guy that they have is usually the person that's closest to number 10, because they'll explain like, they split votes or something like that with Deion Jones. So that's what I'm thinking, and it just goes from there.
Okay.
So I think Devin Bush is 13 on this list.
Okay, that's how I'm taking it then.
Donta Hightower, New England. Patrick Queen, Baltimore.
Boo! We don't like Baltimore.
Blake Martinez, New York. See,
New York.
Now it actually makes sense. See? CJ Mosley, New York too.
New York.
Joe Schobert, Jacksonville. It comes full circle.
That is funny, man. Look what you just started, Deke.
I know.
That's funny. And no quarter 32. We appreciate you joining the family. Welcome to the upper room.
Shout out.
Yes, indeed. We appreciate you. Yo, that is funny though. And Darren, you're right. Levi Stadium is in Santa Clara. Me and Deke, we got to witness that.
That stadium's sick.
It is, man. I didn't like the parking situation. Remember we had to like get dropped off and walk across like that bridge to get there though?
Yeah.
With the Uber.
It was the Uber. It wasn't necessarily parking.
Yeah, it was the Uber.
But if you're getting dropped off, you're going to get screwed.
Yeah, that was the thing.
If you're actually parking, the lots are huge.
Parking, absolutely. And they're like right there.
I don't know what it's like trying to get out of that place. That's probably hell.
Because, we didn't have to worry about it getting out. We weren't in a rush.
I think it looked like it was all on one side. It's just like a barren wasteland of parking lots.
Absolutely, man.
But the stadium was awesome.
That was a vibe. I just remember, oh, man, yeah, that was what it was right there.
Yeah, the entrance sucked
that
too.
Was one of those
it was all funneled into one area.
Yeah, because them checking the ticket stubs took forever because it was just like two like people there, like a couple hundred people just trying to funnel into this one little gate, man. Yeah, that was not good at all. Fun time though.
That was a blast.
That was an awesome time, man. Shout out to the Mats and homies, man. Them dudes out there. Always a vibe, man. And obviously our dude John, aka Banger, was still a game.
The man. He's gonna be at the softball event.
Yes, he is, man. Yes, he is. So we got our top 10, and we're looking at Devin at 13, you said.
Yeah, Bush at 13. You want me to read them off again real quick?
Let's get it one more time.
Miles Jack, Demario Davis, Tremaine Edmonds, Eric Kendricks, Roquan Smith, Levante David, Darius Leonard, Bobby Wagner, Fred Warner, and then Devin White at number 1.
Okay.
You're not feeling Devin White at 1, huh?
No, so this is my thing. I love Devin White's play, especially towards the end of it. Like, I thought he came on and was crazy high. His playoff run, crazy productivity. I mean, what he was able to do between the interceptions, the tackles for loss, the sacks, like crazy impact. He looked like the best defender on the field in those games. But for me, I still lean Bobby Wagner just because until he falls off, I don't think that Devin's postseason run / end of the season is enough to knock off a guy who's still been arguably the best linebacker in the NFL. Like, that's my thing. Just because he's new, just because it's like more hot right now. Like, that's my thing.
Well, that's what they said. They didn't feel like there was much of a drop off from Bobby Wagner last year. They said maybe his speed, but he's been able to pick it up in other ways.
He's so smart. He's so smart. Like, it doesn't, if you lose a step, he understands the angles. He knows how to chase down tacklers. He also understands alignments. Like, him and KJ Wright, you watch them, man, they play on the string. Those guys work so well together. And honestly, that's why both of those guys have been so successful. When you're able to get a pair like that, man, but that's why for me, I still have Bobby at 1.
I got him at 3. Fred Warner at 2.
Well, I can see all 3 of those guys are in that conversation. Like, Fred is a beast too.
Darius Leonard at 4.
Yeah, what Darius is, I don't think Darius is good against the run. Like, those guys, you can't run at them or away from them. Darius, you can't run away from him, but you can run at him and have some success. Okay. That's the only thing with Darius. You can have a little bit of success on him there, but Darius is a big time playmaker too. I mean, He creates splash. He gets turnovers. And I love the fact he's a small school guy. You know that, baby.
Yeah, definitely. So
yeah, but for me, man, I'm going. I've still put Bobby Wagner at 1. I'll coin flip Fred Warner versus Devin White. Like I said, Devin really came on at the end of the year. But you know me, man. Like I'm a fan of full body of work versus small sample size. So I'm going to give the nod to Fred right now because Fred has done it for multiple. You know what I mean? Like it's different with him. Yeah. Whereas with Devin, he's still, like I said, he's coming into it. Now he showed some flash, like what he did in the postseason. If he's doing that over 17 games, we won't even be having this discussion next year. It'll be clear, like, yo, this is the new number 1 linebacker. But I need to see it for the full body of a season. That's the only thing.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you think then about the end of these?
Monster, though. Devin's a monster. God, he's a monster, man.
The rest of these rankings.
I'm cool with, put it like this. I think that Kendricks, because you said he was at, where was
7.
7.
Mm-hmm.
Tremaine was at 8.
Mm-hmm. Roquan Smith at 6, and then Levante David at 5.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with those guys.
Flip them around at all?
Honestly, no. I don't think. I mean, because with Kendricks, I don't feel like he's slowing down, but he missed time last year.
Yeah,
that was he was like, I think it was like 5 or 6 games. So that was my thing with him. Whereas Roquan, he was available. Miles Jack,
they got him at 10.
It's hard to evaluate just because, like, when I think of his play versus Jacksonville, like Jacksonville was bad. So it's just, you know, it's hard to be like, oh yeah, well, he was the good bright spot on the bad. You could make that case. But yeah, but I do think that them bringing in the cat from Cleveland, though, the one who had the 2 picks versus
Schobert.
Yeah. Him being down there helped Miles a lot because it moved Miles out the middle. Yeah, it let Miles be more run and chase. That's huge. That's his game. Miles not having to be in the middle, that's big for him, man.
Now, with Devin Bush, it's understandable he's not in the top 10.
Yeah. Well, he had an injury. I mean, he played, was it six games?
And here's really exactly what they said. Yeah,
like
5 games. Yeah, he would have been in the top 10 had he not gotten hurt. He's got major ability.
Yeah. Like, for me, if we were to see a full season Devin Bush and it would have ended not to the same extent of Devin White, but he had that type of growth, which we all assumed that he was going to take, and we're assuming that he will take that at some point this season, then yeah, I would put him up there ahead of the Miles Jack part, right? Because with Miles, like I said, like he hasn't really lived up to the expectations surrounding him. Now, I do think part of it's just been out of position, him being more of an inside guy versus him naturally being able to play on the outside and just being able to run and be backside of stuff and be a lot freer. I think that that's more his game. But with Devin, if Devin is healthy, Devin is a more complete player. But he has to show that he could be healthy, right? It's only been 2 years, you know, so that's the thing. So it's not like it's a bad knock on Devin. It's just we haven't seen him. It's just unfortunate, man. So that's the thing with him. But I'm trying to think of the other honorable mention guys. Let me see who else did you say.
Deion Jones at 10. That's probably the most interesting one. And I think they did say he split with Jack or was really close to Jack in terms of the votes.
See, I don't feel like I watched enough, though, of Jack to say yay or nay versus him and Deion Jones. Like the other guys on the list, like Patrick Queen, I like him as an honorable mention, but it goes back to the conversation of I just need to see it again. Like he flashed, he did some good things.
A lot of young linebackers, dude.
Yeah. I was surprised with CJ Mosley, though. This is the thing that surprised me. Now, maybe it's because he's younger compared to KJ Wright. But to me, I would have much rather had KJ Wright on that list as an honorable mention because he's been playing the past 2 seasons. Whereas CJ has missed the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to have a guy in the top 16 that hasn't played in 2 seasons? Like, that's the part that doesn't add up to me, man. That's the only thing I don't like. Now, was there a reason why they said CJ was on the list, though?
Pretty simple. I mean, there's not much to this. Still a high-level linebacker. When he's on the field, it's just been a while.
It's been 2 years. 2 years. Deke, how much have you changed in 2 years? Deke, it's 2 years.
A lot, actually.
In 2 years. Shoot, 2 years ago, I was 50 pounds heavier. 2 years? Like, what we talking about 2 years, bro? Like, 2 years is a long time, man. I don't want to hear about what he did 2 years ago. Show me now, man.
Yeah, definitely. I do think Bush, man, if he could play this full season, man, he's
He's ready to go.
He's going to ascend. I really think so. I think he could have last year. It's just really a bummer that he got hurt. And I was trying to look back on last season. Outside of the Denver game, I thought he had a really good Giants game. And I thought he was pretty solid for us on defense for those first 5 games. His production wasn't at the same pace as it was his rookie year.
The 2 games that he struggled in were realistically the Denver game because of Noah Fant, and I want to say it was Philly. It wasn't Philly or was it Houston? It was one of those where he had another like little bit of a matchup issue. But other than that, like watching him on tape, man, he flew around. He was extremely confident, man. Like
it was only in coverage that we're talking about.
It was just coverage. There was nothing else, just the coverage part of it.
And that's something that's icing on the cake for linebackers.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
Some people just don't even have those capabilities. Correct. And we know Devin Bush has that. But we're saying to get in this top 10 linebacker category, top 5 linebacker category, that's just that's all it's going to take.
Yeah, he has the run and hit element, sideline to sideline, tackle for loss. He can do all of that with anybody on that list. The coverage part is the difference. Those other guys, they either specialize in man-to-man coverage or they generate turnovers. And that's the part.
Sure, like Deion Jones, really good in coverage.
Well, even Fred Warner, like Fred isn't as good an athlete as Devin. Not at all. But Fred understands how to cover. Fred understands how to create just, positive plays for him as a defender. Those are the things that with Devin, he'll learn that. Being in the stadium, just having these bumps and bruises, the growing pains, like that's going to help him. Devin White went through the same thing. That's the difference, though. Devin White was just available to go through those growing pains where Devin got cut short. So hopefully, like I said, man, he'll be able to hit the ground running and get that thing back to where you like it at for him.
What do you think? Do you remember what type of comparisons you were making with Devin Bush whenever we were drafting him or we were looking at him back in that draft? Because what do you think
say that again?
Like, do you remember what comparisons you were making with Devin Bush in terms of previous linebackers in the NFL?
I don't,
because my question is, what is his ceiling? Could he legitimately become the best middle linebacker in the NFL?
I mean, I'm sure any of those guys.
Because it was going back and forth with him and Devin White, and these guys are already saying Devin White's number 1.
True.
The thing
but it's because also that Devin White has like shown his game has translated. Because the thing is, you worry with Devin and with both Devins. They're smaller guys. They're compact in size, but obviously Devin White was down there with Levante David, who's also obviously a top 5 linebacker. That helps out a ton. It helps out in a major way. We think about Vince Williams and his play when he was with Ryan Shazier versus his play when he was with John Bostic, when he was with Mark Barron. Like, it's different who your running mate is. So even with Devin Bush, him having, whether it's Vince, Spillane, Buddy Johnson, none of those guys are Levante David. So that also plays into why Devin White has been able to grow so much faster right now. Not talking about just the injury element. He's been a part of a really good, legitimate inside linebacker core where he's with other veterans who are on 2nd and 3rd contracts who've been very successful. So that's another reason why I think that Devin has been able to just advance as fast as he has. Whereas with our Devin Bush, we already talked about the inside linebacker room. Even though we're confident in that group, is not to that level of a group yet.
Okay, I got you. And you're not even thinking Devin White should be 1 right now at this point.
Right.
Anyway.
I think that he should be more at 3, worst case 4, because he had a crazy playoff. Like, I'm sure in the article, they're going to talk about the playoff run that he had. Like, it was berserk. And what he was able to do in terms of finishing the regular season, you could see him take that next step. But I'm just a big believer in I need to see a larger sample size because we've seen too many times where a guy flashes. He has a season, or he has a season in 6 games, and then you commit to him and it disappears. You put him on the pedestal of, he's the guy, and it goes away. He stops performing like that. It looks like he's more of an overachiever than a really good player.
We're not assuming that's happening with
Correct.
him.
We don't assume that's happening with him. Right.
But my thing is it out of question in 2-3 years we look up and see Devin Bush as the best middle linebacker in the league?
I don't think that's out of the question at all.
Okay.
But I think that
everything up to this point has always just been based off his potential. We knew his rookie year he wasn't going to be all the way there.
Right.
He showed his signs. He showed like the big playmaking and the over 100. I think he had 109 tackles or something like that. So we expect him to make that jump next year. I just hope it's never that scenario where potential. We're always talking about with Devin Bush. That's the thing. Where he's like barely cracking the top 10, and we're like, he's so athletic. Could he? You think he actually could become
just based
number one?
On right now, that's what it is, right? Because we saw one season where it was mixed reviews, but we still were very optimistic and positive about him. And then last year, it got cut short. So the sample size is still very small on him. But he has all the intangibles. I mean, I think we're looking at this no different than when he was getting drafted to us, right? We see the intangibles. He has everything in place to be the best linebacker, right? He has all the qualities you want are there. Can he put it together for 17 games?
And stay injury healthy? Just screwed it up.
Right, that's the big
really
question.
Screwed it up. And this year's a big one.
This is a big one. And it's no different when you think about Tua, right? We've talked about Tua in terms of athletically, man. He's gifted enough to be one of the best D linemen in the NFL. But we've also seen him have unfortunate injuries multiple times. Now, last year was the difference, and now you saw him receive the respect and the acknowledgement that he deserved last year because he showed that he could do it over a full season. So with Devin, same concept, man. As soon as he shows he could do it for a full season, everybody will be putting him right in those top 10, top 5 discussions.
People were trying to last year, I think, too. I think they had him in the honorable mention categories for this type of stuff. Now with Shazier, I'm looking at his kind of trajectory. It was his third year when he made his Pro Bowl. Rookie year, only played 9 games. Yep. Well, he's 9 games, 12 games, 13, and then 12 games. Like he's been hurt throughout his whole 4 years, like little knick-knack injuries and stuff like that. But for him to make the Pro Bowl in 16, that's kind of what we're hoping with Devin Bush then. And I think with Bush and Shazier both coming out of college, we thought Bush was the more polished prospect off the bat.
We knew Bush, we knew his position. With Shazier, we didn't know what he was going to play. When he got here, we tried him out at outside linebacker and at inside linebacker. Tried to do different packages with him to see what he was capable of handling because he was such a freaky athlete. And it was just kind of like that new toy that you don't really know what to do with, but you know you want to do something with it. And that's kind of what we were doing with him. Whereas with Devin, it was clear that, this is a inside linebacker, not a safety, not an edge rusher, inside linebacker. That's it. And I think that also helped him because he didn't have to deal with the bouncing around either. But with Devin, man, the only thing that I would caution is just with Shazier, he did get a ton of football played in those first 2 seasons, right? Even when I know he was missing time because of the injuries, he was still out there. Like he was getting those reps in there. Whereas with Devin, the first year he got that, second year he got cut a little bit short. So that's my only concern in terms of how quickly he can hit that ground running and go through that growing pain phase that everybody goes through. At the NFL, everybody goes through it. And typically it's those first 2 years you go through that little rough patch. You'll have some great performances. You'll have some okay performances. But then after that is when you finally balance out. So hopefully for Devin, he gets that thing quick and in a hurry.
So you think because it's got to be close to the same amount of games, but for Shazier to play the 12 games going in 15
right, because
in his
it was
second season.
Into it. Yeah. So the first year, even if he dealt with the injuries in and out of the lineup, he was still, that was part of that learning process. That second year, he still went through growing pains. But by the end of that second year, the confidence that he had was through the roof. The confidence that we had playing around him was through the roof because he had shown now that, okay, mentally he's ready for this. He's taking that jump. Physically, his body is transforming. He's ready for this. And in that third year, it was just, it was like, yo, this dude is an animal out here. And then obviously we know going forward, like what the trajectory is going to look like. So with Devin, we're just waiting to see that. And he's more than capable of it, though. More than capable, man.
Okay, got you.